Look at how beautiful this is. It's just gorgeous. Just beautiful. But it's going back. I've got the Realist Pro 5-string model violin. This is essentially a violin and a viola all in one package. This is what I expected when I bought this violin. Definitely a test. Never owned a 5-string, never played on a 5-string before. So we're gonna get into some of my thoughts and opinions on it. So this is the Realist Pro 5-string violin. Beautiful, beautiful color on this. Absolutely gorgeous. Now it does not come with this chin rest. I put my center mounted chin rest on this violin because I prefer center mounted. It's gonna come with a black side mounted chin rest right here. So just keep that in mind. It comes with the Whitner fine tuning pegs here, which makes this thing so easy to tune. It just turns smooth. There's no hassle, there's no strain when you turn. I mean, I can demonstrate here up close. It just turns super smooth. So I really do appreciate that, the Whitner fine tuner pegs. You have fine tuners here at the bottom, but you really don't need them. So with this being a 5-string, we've got a lower C string. So standard strings, E, A, B, G. But now we have this beautiful C string on the bottom, which gives us the range of a viola built into the violin. So really cool if you want to get into some really really rich, dark colors like that. It is really nice for that. So anybody that's doing, maybe you're recording orchestral sounds, maybe you're in the studio and you need to record, some lower string parts and some higher string parts. It's good for that, but at the same time, you've got a really smooth E string as well. I don't even know what I'm playing, just... Really nice E string on there as well. One of the main differences you'll notice when you pick up this 5-string is that the curve of the strings, if you can look at the bridge here, it's very, very round. Very, very round. Whereas with the standard bridge cut, you're gonna have a deeper drop off with the A and E strings. This one is very evenly rounded, so your highest string is gonna be the D string in the middle, right? Really threw me off the first time I picked it up because my muscle memory wanted me to play, if I went to play the A string, I was actually playing the D string. So kind of threw me off. You might need to get your bridge recut if you're used to, more of a standard violin bridge shape, something to consider. It's not necessary. Some people can make the adjustments. I'm picky. I'd probably be the type to, get the shape recut. The height of these strings is also pretty high. So my first, complaint, my first con is that this violin it's hard to play. Not hard to play as in it doesn't make a good sound, it doesn't make a clear sound, because it does, all the way through. Once you break in the strings a little bit, you can get a sound out easily, but with the left hand, you're really going through it. I was practicing yesterday and actually had to stop for a while because I started to get some wrist pain, some hand pain, just from how tight I had to grip the neck and press down on the strings to, keep my intonation and to stop, little, weak sounding notes like that. You want a solid, but you've got to put in the work with your left hand. I don't like that. I tend to play some really long gigs. I don't like tension, I don't like pain, discomfort at all. And for the price, this is a $2,700 violin. After tax, it's basically $3,000. At a $3,000 price point, I'm not dealing with anything that's even remotely uncomfortable. That's just me. So that's my biggest con with it. Another thing you want to consider is the size of it. It's bigger than a violin, smaller than a viola. It's something in between. The neck is also much thicker. So if you have small hands, which I feel like I have average size hands, not big, not small by any means, but if you have small hands, this is gonna be a problem. Reaching down, I mean, you've really gotta curve your arm to get down here with it. Another issue I have is double stops are pretty tough. The added pressure that you have to do, you have to squeeze. It's already an issue of tension with playing double stops. You want to be relaxed, not press down too hard. String height on this just makes that even more complicated. You know, if you're trying to... It's harder to vibrate and to do a full juicy vibrato because you have to press down so hard. So also something to consider. It comes with Tomastic Vision strings, as you can see here. And they sound great. I've never played these strings before. Usually I'm a dominant or a Peter Enfield. But these strings are really nice. Skipped over a feature here. So it comes with a volume knob and a tone knob here, which is really dope. It's acoustic and electric, which I failed to mention at the beginning. It's acoustic and electric. We got a pickup right here in the back. So when you're playing live gigs, you just plug this baby up into an amplifier. You can amplify yourself and you can adjust your volume here. So I'm pretty maxed out right now, so I'll turn up on the amplifier here. Hard to remember what string you're on, which is another thing I dealt with. It's very functional. The tone knob pops out. So it's got this switch that turns the pickup from a passive pickup to an active one, which is going to give you more volume. So that's really cool if you ever need it. All you do is just pull out this second switch here. This one. All in all, it's a great instrument. For me, it's a little bit too uncomfortable. I am gonna swap this out for the 4-string model and see how much better I like that one. With the larger size, it's heavier as well, and it just wears me out. Like I said, I like to play long gigs. So comfort and, you know, ease is very important to me. I don't want an instrument that I have to fight with. I've dealt with that in the past and it's not fun. So at this price point, I'm looking for comfort. I'm looking for ease of playing. It's pretty heavy, especially if you've got a cable pulling on you as well in a live setting. It's just extra weight. You might need to get more of a viola-sized shoulder rest or something that's adjustable. Yeah, so this is my first time with a 5-string violin. I think it's really cool. You know, definitely something that I might grab in the future. But for right now, for my needs, the main reason I got an acoustic electric violin is to solve an issue I was having with a pickup on one of my other violins. One of the pickups that you slide in the bridge, it kept moving around. I had lots of issues with my sound dropping out, in and out, in the middle of gigs and stuff like that. It's just not cool. My main reason for getting this violin is having a more reliable and stable electric pickup connection. This solves that problem, 100%. You will need to get a right angle cable. If you use a cable that's just straight, it will interfere. When you put it on your shoulder, you can't hold it up properly. So you will need to get a right angle cable. I think it's a good instrument. I just don't need it right now. That's my main reason that I'm switching it out for the 4-string. Most important thing for me right now is reliability and volume. So with my volume knob and the active pickup switch, I can control my volume. I can increase my volume with the active pickup switch in live settings. When I'm playing with bands and things like that where it's really loud and I need more volume, you know, let's say there's a different song and, you know, I can adjust that myself. It's a lot easier to manage that way. I think for me and my needs, I think I'm going to switch this out for the 4-string. And then if I want to, you know, do some recording, some orchestral type recording, you know, I make my own music, or if I'm working on somebody else's music and they want a viola sound, I'd rather just go get a $400 or $500 viola so that the viola sounds like a viola and the violin sounds like a violin. This isn't a violin or viola, it's something in between. And so I feel like you lose some of the depth and character of a viola, and you also lose some of the sweetness of a violin, and it compromises on both ends. Something to you know, this is very nitpicky. The average person, you know, the listener is not going to really be affected by that. But you as a player, you as an artist, if you want to get the most out of your production, out of your sounds and all that, I think it's good to have instruments that do what they're supposed to do. I don't think this solves the problem of having a violin and a viola in one. I think this is a great live instrument. If you're playing, and I play lots of like R&B, hip hop and stuff like that, this would be great for that. If it didn't wear my hands out, if it wasn't so heavy, I'd keep it. But also, another reason why you might not want a 5-string, and another reason why I'm switching it for the 4-string, is that I don't really use the C string. You know, you can, but lots of songs don't call for you to play that low. Most singers are going to be up here, you know, at the lowest you might get around the G string. That's pushing it. Most songs you're going to be on the D, A, and E string for a majority of the song. I mean, it just is what it is. I don't know, what's a popular song? You know, Cuff It by Beyonce. That whole song is on the D, A, and E string. You know? It's all on the D, A, and E string. All that stuff. Especially when you've got like your higher singers, you know, your Mariah Careys, your Ariana Grandes, you know, your Fantasias, people that are hitting these higher notes and stuff. You don't need this. Even, you know, if you're playing music that's by a male singer, you know, lower voice, bass, baritone, you can still get away with just playing on the D and G strings for the most part. So it's cool to have, but it's not necessary. So for me, I think I'm just gonna stick with the 4-string for now. So that's the majority of my thoughts. If I've missed anything, if y'all have any questions about it, drop it in the comments, let me know. It's not a bad instrument at all. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's just not comfortable enough for me at this price point. I mean, I've played violins that are $400 or $500 that are way more comfortable in hand. My last gripe, and I'm done. Because the neck is thicker, some of these edges, and it's not really capturing that well, here we go. Some of these edges get a little irritating when you're playing on the lower strings. When you're playing on the lower strings and these edges are rubbing against your knuckle, that can get irritating after a while. Maybe I'm just really nitpicky. I am really nitpicky, I know that. If you don't care about all of this stuff, you can get this instrument and have a blast. Or don't get the Pro model, get the base 5-string model. With the Pro model, you get the active passive switch and you get this nicer finish to the violin. But if none of that really matters to you, you can get the base model. You can save like $1,000 or something like that. So that's my thoughts on the Realist Pro 5-string violin model. Final verdict is cool to have, fun to have, not necessary for me. I don't need the 5th string. It's a little bit too difficult to press down, specifically with the lower string, the C and the G string. And for me, being comfortable playing with ease is most important for me. Maybe in the future I'll pick up one of these again just to have, but I think for now I'm going to stick with the 4-string and get a viola for when I need a viola sound. So that's it. I'm rambling a lot. We're doing minimal editing on this, so it's probably going to be a pretty long video, but it is what it is. If y'all are interested in more music review videos, violin review videos, let me know. It's some new content that I'll get into in the new year, so super excited to branch out and do some new stuff. Anyway, that's it. So we're back with the 4-string model. Also beautiful. I love the color. All this stuff, volume knobs on the side, tone knob on the side. Immediately I'm hoping, I'm like fingers crossed, I hope I like the 4-string better than the 5-string, and I do. I like this way better. of sweetness to it. And it feels under the ear, it feels bigger. It's easier to play, it's more responsive than the 5-string, so I really appreciate that. I don't have to dig in as much to get a clear sound out of it. It's been a pleasure to play. I don't know how else to say it. I'm keeping this one. I can already tell, as soon as I started playing it, I knew this one was a keeper for sure. Feels like you just get more power. It feels juicier. I know it's a block of wood, not a block, but it's wood, but it feels juicier. I feel like I can get more color, more tones out of it. The 5-string was a struggle. In the first part of the video, I mentioned the size of it and the weight of it was a little bit too much on the shoulder. So coming back to more of a standard size, standard weight, I appreciate it. The shape of the bridge is still a little bit of a concern. Not so much the shape, more so the height. It's about 1 millimeter higher than your average violin bridge that you'll find in the shop. So I will get this cut down most likely. If you can look closely, around the D and the G string, there's not much curve here. Right in here, there's not much curve. You get a little drop off on the E, that's pretty standard. But I find it's difficult to play on the D string without hitting the G and the A once you start to move up in position. So, you know, first position's fine. Second position's fine. Once you get to third position, see I hit the G string? You start to hit other strings. You don't have much space to go either way. I mean, as soon as you move that bow, you're hitting another string. So I'll get my bridge adjusted to match my other violins. That's a very minor thing. With the violin itself, I'm very happy with it. I only have good things to say about it. Because it is acoustic electric, the electronics inside are gonna dampen some of the natural resonance of the violin. So compared to a standard acoustic instrument, it does feel, in terms of resonance, it may be about 80 to 85% of what it probably would be without all the electronic stuff inside. But that's fine because I'm not playing this acoustically. I have another violin that I'll use to play, you know, acoustic gigs or if I'm doing an orchestra thing like that. This is for gigging. This is for live performance, concerts, that type of thing. So I'm gonna plug this up. And if it's ever, you know, not loud enough, you got your volume knob right here. So I can turn myself up so you can hear more of the sound coming out of the amp versus the acoustic sound. So here we go. I dig it. I'm gonna turn up the amp here just to make sure y'all can hear me more. I've got my volume about maxed out here. I did not charge this to test the active passive thing, but just know that you do have an active passive switch. All you have to do is plug in the power cord that comes in this, plug it in for a few minutes, not long at all, and then when you pop this one out, so this one right here, and then you get more volume. So it's not charged up, so it's not gonna do anything. I'm gonna put this back where it was. TLDR, if you're gonna get a Realist Pro violin, I highly recommend getting the 4-string model over the 5-string model. It's a lot easier to play. It's a lot more responsive, and overall, I think it's a better playing experience. In a live setting, using a low C strings, it's just not realistic. If you're playing maybe some metal, some rock, heavier things where you need to get down like that, or if you're doing solo gigs, if you're doing a solo thing where you make your own arrangements and that's the only instrument, cool, I can see a 5-string working out. But in the context of a full band or an ensemble, I don't see it being useful to have 5 strings. I'd rather have a 4-string violin with better projection, better clarity, a better tone overall, than to have a 5-string that's harder to play, a little bit more of a choked up sound in my opinion, and it's heavier on your shoulder for no real benefit. So anyway, I'm Tyrone Marcel. This has been my review of the Realist Pro Violin, the 5-string and 4-string variant. Catch y'all in the next one.